Welcome to the Shift podcast, where midlife, medicine, and mindset meet. We're breaking the silence around women's health and simplifying the path to feeling strong, clear, and better than ever. Hosted by me, Heidi Swap, with insights from Dr. Vohn Watts and stories from real women, the Shift podcast is here to challenge the narrative, empower you with information, and create a new vision for your next chapter. Hi there. Welcome to the Shift podcast. So happy that you have come back to join us. And I'm just going to tell you that we love hearing from you. We love your messages. We love all of the feedback. Sometimes it makes me laugh. Sometimes it makes me kind of cry, because I know that we are all just feeling the same thing. And the feedback that I get all the time is pretty much like, just thank you for not sugarcoating any of this. And I mean, if I could, I would probably, but that's never going to happen. So here we are. We are just going to always just be very, very real. Now, Dr. Watts and Chelsea have both talked about this woman named Laura Jacobs. Now, they've told me a lot of things, but today's the first day that I am meeting her, and she's here. We're going to have a conversation. I mean, I'm not even sure which tangential direction we're going to go. So it's going to be really fun. This is somebody who knows a lot, who has been around a lot, who is really, really passionate about all things health, wellness, life, woman. I mean, you name it. She's a passionate gal, which we love. And Dr. Watts is a big fan, and he has sung her praises. So I'm really excited to have you here. Watts, why don't you introduce her?
You did a great job introducing her. I think what we need to do, because I'm not even going to begin to talk about her background, so I'm going to have her do it. But so when I was at doTERRA for a year as their vice president of nutritional education, and that's where Laura and I met. And then very quickly, within the first month, no, I take that back.
First day.
The first couple of days, I was introduced to her. I was telling her about some of these ideas. And then a couple of days later, the guy the chief marketing officer I reported to, came to me and said, listen, he was talking to the CEO at the time and said, hey, Corey wants you to just be on a listening tour for 90 days. Basically, don't do anything for 90 days. And I'm like, you hired the wrong guy for that, because I can't sit still for 5 seconds. And what it was is I said, hey, I was talking about all these cool ideas. And I think I freaked her out a little bit. She's like, oh my gosh, another guy they hired. They're going to come in and try to change stuff. And every time they've done that, it's hasn't worked out well.
I got to clean up the mess, splash on the pond.
It was like 3 days after I spoke with, his name is Andrew. We get on a call on a Saturday morning.
First I met you in person.
Yeah, I met in person. That was the first one. Yeah. That's where I scared you.
Yeah.
And then we got on a call.
You scared me too, you guys.
No, you won my heart within 30 minutes. I'll tell the story.
And then we got on a call on Saturday, and then that's when it began. And so from there, I'm going to let Laura kind of first introduce, kind of give your background so people understand you're not just somebody who works at doTERRA. She has a long history in...
I just have to give one side note in case you're not from Utah. And I know that doTERRA is world global... doTERRA, which means the earth.
The gifts of the earth.
The gifts, thank you, of the earth. So it's a huge company that is headquartered here.
Actually, it's 3 miles that way.
Yeah.
So it's really close.
Anyway, I just so that you know, it's it's done a lot more. It used to be really essential oils and teaching people really fundamental healing from gifts from the earth.
Yeah, and so they're a little more they've got more than just oils now. So they're more of a wellness space company now.
Anyway, so just because we kind of throw away that term.
It's true. But needless to say, she's more than just somebody who works at doTERRA as a wellness advocate. She has an extensive background in health and wellness. And so I'm going to let you introduce that part, and then let's just go right into that first moment. And
Yeah.
let her go.
I would love that.
It was actually kind of funny.
We all love our first moments.
No, because when she'll get into this, but when we got on a call like a few days after I had the call and talk with my boss at the time, we got on a call. It was like Saturday morning, and we were on the phone for like 3 straight hours, and that's when it began. And then it will lead into a whole bunch of conversation here today.
Cool.
Sure. It was a life-changing moment for me. I always say it was the day I got out of jail.
Oh, okay,
So
that's
that's a
kind
little
of a
teaser.
big deal.
Yeah. So thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here. So fun to be with Vohn. It's been a minute since we've been hanging out, and so nice to meet you. And for a minute, I thought you were Chelsea.
We get that a lot, but I'm much taller than her, just so you know.
Oh, okay. And to me, you're both short. So, you know.
Right, I'm only 5'4", so I'm actually not that much taller. Anyway.
I love it. Well, thanks again. I'm so happy to be here and happy to share and communicate. You know, what I love about my story is it's really normal. I didn't go to a school and somebody slapped some letters on my back and said, go. It was a self-selection process. It began really, truly with my son, who's about next week, he's going to turn 35. Oh my gosh. And as a little guy, you know, the whole like weaning from breast milk, I got my hand slapped by a male old pediatrician who told me I should put that boy on cow's milk, and he shamed me for formula. And he said, get that boy on whole cow's milk. Well, within a minute, the kid had ear infections, and they were relentless. And they went on and on and on for month after month, antibiotic after antibiotic. And then we got the tubes, you know, the token surgery, all the things. And then a little over a year later, they fell out, and here we are back at square one. And I just thought, as a mom, like, no, not on my watch. My kid's suffering. Like, there has to be a better way. And so I got curious, the learner in me, and I opened some books and whatnot. And by then I'd been exposed to some more natural ways of being. I wouldn't say that it was my tendency per se, but enough that I was open to like explore. I had enough books to start looking, and I figured out, oh my gosh, it's dairy. And what I discovered was that by going on the first antibiotic, which had happened prior to that, we're killing off the lactobacillus acidophilus in the gut, and you need that to break down lactose. And so without it, you're going to start a trend. And so one antibiotic after another, he's going to become less and less and less capable of hanging out with dairy. And so when I figured that out, I went from being what I like to call a someday mom, where I was putting out the fires, to being an everyday mom. And I found out that by changing how I fed him and his diet, that we could change the course of his life. And it was only when my parents would take him to like McDonald's or Taco Bell and back in the day and feed him a little dairy. And sure enough, we'd get a flare. But other than that, my son, he's a hero. He changed the trajectory of our entire family's life. And we've never looked back. We've never been the same. And it opened me up to a whole world of possibilities. So fast forward, I'm now pregnant with child number 2. And it's my second pregnancy. It's my sister-in-law, and best friend's first. And I've already read the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting. So I'm on round 2.
A lot of information in that book.
Love that book. Totally raised me as a mom. And so I'm on my second round. So I'm what I like to call a chapter ahead, right? So it's round 2. And by now I've studied the natural thing. You know, I've got some things under my belt. And so my first nickname was Dr. Ovary. That's how my career began.
Okay.
And so I got interest in one particular health solution and sold it kind of as a side hustle as a brand new young mom. And then my husband and I got more into health stuff as our own health. Like, I'm now 27 and I'm 30, and I'm starting to feel things. And I'm like, oh, so the adventure begins. And by 1996, 95, I'm pregnant with child number 3. Apparently the children are part of the record keeping. I'm 5 months pregnant, and I get curious, and I took a class in iridology from a man named Al Garcia, and he taught me about herbs. He taught me about how to read eyes. And
back that up there. Have you ever heard of iridology?
No, I was going to ask
what is that? So
it's fascinating is what it is.
It's fantastic.
And I still need you to, I want to get a reading.
But say it.
Iridology or iridology. It's IRI, like iris, like the spelling of your iris.
Okay.
So it's the science of using the iris to read it to reveal what's happening in the body. And it's incredible.
No, I've never heard of
I
it. But also, I would like to
tell all the different things going on in your body just from your eyes.
I've probably read, 20,000 people's eyes.
20,000 people's eyes?
No joke. Yeah.
Do you have to get like
special equipment?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
you just like look at the person, so you have to get like...
No. I held up a magnifier with an extra magnifier in it, and I read people's eyes. No joke.
So you didn't have the machines that they have now?
I did never buy one. I looked at it. I bought a scope years later, and I never really did get good at it. I would just peer into your eyes and tell you which way to look and
I mean, it
use a
feels,
side flashlight.
It feels like it might be more reliable than like palm reading.
It's very different than palm.
I'm totally.
Do you want me to get technical on you real quick?
I'm fascinated. I didn't even know that was a
You
thing.
have in your eye what's called the stroma, and it's all the fibers in your eyes, and they're 4 levels deep. And depending on what those fibers are doing, they're indicating what's going on in the related reflex portion of the body. So if you believe in reflexology, whether it's on your ears or going to the chiropractor for your spine or having somebody rub your feet.
And by reflexology, like when you look at that little map that says this is what your foot looks like and here's
yeah,
the liver.
those are the nerve endings.
Okay.
Right? So up through your optic nerve, it comes and then it crosses. So it crosses back here, which is we do like the right left thing, but then it crosses again in the front. And so the left eye, left side, right eye, right side. And I'm telling you what, I'd be like, oh, you have a prolapse uterus, don't you? Yep. You have ovarian cysts. Yep. I mean, I could see everything. Oh, this little girl comes in, she has tumors in her spine, and I'm not here to cure any diseases. That's not what I did. But I could see things like, it's probably like on T5. That's how much you can see in the eye.
Yeah, it's very similar. Like when you're like talking about like auriculogy or auricular.
Yes.
Like acupuncture and stuff. Like you can treat the whole body and just the ear. Same with the hands.
But
I need to get out more. I need to get out more.
But you can see it all.
I can see like topostabile, topolabile. That means there's pigmentation in the eye. And if it's coming from your liver, it's brown. If it's on your liver, it's topostabile. If it's somewhere else, like in your brain, it's the liver throwing its story into your brain. It's topolabile. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Well, I think I would just like to have you do that live right here on.
Well, you know what I do?
So fascinating.
You know what we should do is maybe we have her come back and have her read her eyes
That
on
would
the
be
podcast.
the coolest.
No, that would be cool.
That would be fascinating.
All right, maybe we'll have you.
It's not as easy, I will admit, at age 62 with
with those glasses.
higher powered. I think I'm up to 2.5 or 2.25 now.
I'm up
it's
to
much
all the
harder.
time. So
Yeah, it's harder to do it than it used to be because I had great vision most of my life. But yeah, we can do it.
That's
it's
fascinating.
way fun.
How long was that training?
A weekend. 14 hours was my first class.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Al taught me how to read eyes. I left there. I'm 5 months pregnant. I hang my shingle in my home and I start consulting people and I'm learning herbology and things at the same time and nutrition. And I would coach people and I'd look in your eye and say, looks like we could use a colon cleanse. So my very, very first real client ever had not been able to get pregnant for 5 years. I met her at a church function and she's just blubbering her story. She's on Clomid. Her emotionality is off the charts. Like she's psycho from the drugs. And I'm like, well, I read eyes and I just started my practice. If you want to come over, I'll read your eyes. And then, I mean, knowing what I know now and what I said then, I just kept it really simple. And I'm like, I think you would really benefit from a colon cleanse. She was pregnant with him 5 months.
Yeah.
Just simple things.
Yeah. No, we see that all the time.
It's really the theme of our whole conversation.
Well, what's funny is that was one of the big things we deal with. Like I work with a lot of practitioners and especially, with detox. And one of the number one things you do with anybody who's not having a hard time getting pregnant, go through a detox program.
It was the first
you will
rule.
almost immediately get pregnant within months. Immediately. Because if you can't get pregnant, it's because your body's designed to get pregnant. Unless you're sterile, right? You're designed to get pregnant. And so the only reason you're not getting pregnant is because your organs aren't funcking at an optimal level. And the only reason that is because
toxic load. Yeah.
toxic load or
has its
deficiency.
consequences.
So
I hung my shingle. I practiced out of my home. I had that third baby and I hired a nanny to work for me for a couple hours a day. So she would take care of the kiddos while I saw clients out of my home and my practice just flourished. So by August of 1996, I opened an official retail location called Herbs for Health in Pleasant Grove. And that store was open. That wellness center was open for 18 years.
Oh my gosh.
That's how you end up reading 20,000 people's eyes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that's how I started. And then kind of the crossover of that is in 2008, one of my longtime clients, and I also created a program called Holistic Health Coach. And I taught people how to do what I did. Not so much the iridology, although I did teach that as well, but I taught a whole protocol program that I created on how to problem solve, how to think, how to solve using muscle response testing or kinesiology.
Okay.
And so one of my longtime students, she came to me and she's like, I got this new network marketing essential oil thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please no. Like, I was like, it was like a target on my chest that the store owner, like, let's sell her everything possible.
Right.
And so you become somewhat immune to these opportunities. And, we've got better this and better that. And by this time, I've been through 6 different brands of essential oils because I'm not impressed. I'm a results-oriented practitioner. I live for results. I live to change people's lives.
I really love that.
And if the stuff I was wielding didn't work, well, then why would I sell it? And so she comes along, I get the whole spiel, we've got the best this, and I'm like, yeah, right. And then sitting there in the meeting, which I really didn't want to be in, one of the gals that's there, she's like new. She's been in this for 3 months, and she's talking about her husband's toe fungus. Well, I'd had a client who had come in wanting some, let's just say she wanted to change her toe terrain, okay? Because again, I was only here to help people change their terrain. So she wanted to change her toe terrain, and I had some oils and I had sold her. And 2 weeks later, I was getting the call from the mom like, we're not getting a change in the toe terrain. And so here's this gal saying, yeah, 72 hours, my husband's toes, the terrain had changed. And I'm like, really? So I'm like, are these oils stronger? So I had an occasion, I had a situation.
Well, people are going to want to know, what are those oils? Which ones did they use?
Well, in the day I was using Tea Tree and Guardian, and she was using Tea Tree and On Guard. So we were using the same thing, and she was getting results and my customer wasn't.
And doesn't On Guard have frankincense in it?
No. On Guard is your spice oils along with eucalyptus.
Why did I think it had
rosemary.
frankincense in it?
No, it's like cinnamon and the citrus oils. It's an immune blend, right? Yeah. It's meant to scare your unwanted guests out of your house. So
prevent them from coming.
So I have a situation. It's kind of a dicey story, but I broke my pelvis, and when I was 45. So this is now just a couple months later. Okay, I broke it in January. This is now August, and I got MRSA in the hospital. I'm one of those people that they gave MRSA to. Lucky me. How nice. Well, I don't know much of it other than they're like, yeah. And I actually ended up taking care of it myself because I knew what to do. It's just great. But so now it's August, and my sister had zoned me. So back to the reflex points in the body of reflexology of zone therapy. My sister's a zone therapist, and she's zoning me. It's a Sunday night, and all of a sudden I feel like I have the flu. I don't feel right. And I say to my husband, we got to go home. Like, something's wrong with me. So I put myself to bed and I get up, and the flu-like symptoms are gone. But now I have this weird ache in my body. And if I lean over to touch my toes, I have this wretched pain in my legs. And I'm like, what's that? So I had a scanner at my store. So I put my hand on the scanner, and I wasn't much into oils.
Is that the thing that
biofeedback? It's like
it's a biofeedback
shows
tool.
you your body, and so you're. It
depends on the level that you're playing with. This one was really simple.
Okay.
So like, there's different practitioner levels. This was more to be more of a lay person level. And the idea was put your hand on the scanner. It's going to pick up on your biomarkers, and then it'll make some top recommendations. Now I'm pretty apathetic about oils at this point, because again, they've disappointed me. Now these people are telling me their stuff's better. So I put my hand on the scanner, and it's herbs and oils and all the things from a different brand that I'm scanning for. And the number one thing I scanned for was oregano oil. And I was like, really? So I get my book open, because I'm not thinking flu. I'm thinking aches and pains and muscle pain. So I open my book, and I'm like, all right, muscles are there. I'll just take the stuff. And then like those doTERRA people said, you can take this internal. I've never done that before. But yeah, it's labeled for internal use. So I'm going to back to school night at the high school, and I'm like, my kids will kill me if I smell like this stuff, because it was intense.
Yeah.
So I put one drop in a capsule, and I swallowed it, and I walked into the high school open house, and I came out, and I got in my car, and I was like, I swear I'm like 85% painless, like for real. So I took another one, and it was gone. And it was really my first personal experience with an essential oil doing something remarkable. And we could really say the rest is history. So we overlapped there for 2008 to 2010, still ran my business and my practice. And then in 2010, I really started to swing my direction, because the team that I had created and the customer base and the footprint I started to create across the nation was growing, and it called to me. And I'd always known I needed to move from being the practitioner to training more people. And so I really swung from what I call the 20/80 to the 80/20. So people would come to me because they had problems they couldn't solve elsewhere. And my forte was to teach them how to change their terrain and how to get out of their muck and their mire. And so I called myself the 20% practitioner, and I loved it, but it's kind of a grind, right? To go in every single day, and every first session was 90 minutes and every follow-up session was 45, and I was very thorough, but I felt called to something else. And so I am here now serving people in what I call the 80%, which is at least 80% of your wellness needs to be taken care of at home. And then for those times when there's something you can't figure out, have some people in your back pocket.
I can see
that'll
why
help
you guys like each other.
Yeah. You can see why I also like, my book talks about the mother.
Terrain.
The mother is, but the mother is the first responder of the home. The book was written for moms, like it really was.
I'm excited
to
to
empower
read it.
moms to be able to take care of a lot of these basic things. Now, it doesn't have a lot of like exactly what to take, but it's more the concepts of understanding.
It's a philosophy.
It's a philosophy. And so it's really important. And just a little
Gets
plug
you
on
curious.
but plug on the oils too. I mean, essential oils have been around a long time. I mean, two of the 3 gifts of baby Jesus were oils, frankincense and myrrh. You know what I mean? So they've been around a long time, and they very, very effective. Alongside, I mean, you have good nutrition, but oils. So a very good thing to have in your tool belt for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, fascinating.
So fast forward now. Fast forward to our story now. So now this is the fun
fast forward.
part.
So now I've been in doTERRA. This was 2 years ago. So it was 15 years. Now it's 17 years. I've been with doTERRA, top leader, top educator, and I've had my hands in a few things, right? Training and product training and whatnot. And so there's turnover in any corporation.
She's helped write the book. Let me put it that way. She's helped literally write the book, the essential oil book that they all use. Like it's like this thick. So
we don't talk
Because
about
what year did doTERRA start?
2008.
2008, yeah.
And what year did you plunk in?
2008. The company was 4 months old. When you say I was at the beginning, there was like 1,000 people in doTERRA when I joined. And now there's over 13 million.
Wow.
Okay. Good time to start.
She's an OG. He's an OG. Okay, cool.
That's what they call me.
Look at me just sitting here.
No, she is. She is one of the
In this
OGs.
room. How did
She's
we
one
even
of the
get here?
OGs. She's one of the OGs.
So
for
fast
sure.
forward. So I've had more of a role with corporate than most wellness advocates. So just to be clear, I don't work for doTERRA. I work for myself, 1099. I'm a sales rep. I mean, through and through. I'm a network marketer, distributor. I'm a sales rep. I'm one of those people. Okay. There's actually good people that do stuff like that. And so with the company, I've chosen to partner and show up and contribute. So whether it's business training or product training, I've made a lot of contributions. And so one of the educator in charge gals there is like, hey, we got this new doctor and he's got this new job and this is his title. Now, mind you, Vohn is the brother of somebody I adore. His brother, Walter, I already know Walter. Walter came to my holistic health coaching class. I taught Walter how to muscle test the first time, and he's gone crazy with it.
And they're in doTERRA, too. Yep, him and
I've
his
traveled
wife are
the
in
world
doTERRA.
with Melody and Walter. Like, we've hung out. When my daughter was vaccine injured, I drove her all the way up to Meridian, Idaho to see Todd Watts, which is Vaughn's other brother. So he's a Watts, right? So there's automatic, like...
He's Watts.
There's going to be fondness there because he's cut from a great fabric, because I know 2 other of his brothers.
How many brothers are there?
There's 4 of us boys. I'm the youngest boy, and then after me, there's 4 girls.
Okay.
So he's got a reputation, like he's a Watts, okay?
He's got to live up to it.
And Melody's been trying to get him with doTERRA, and so he's already got favor in my mind, right?
Okay.
However, to his point,
However,
it's like one more corporate person to come along with new ideas and splash in the pond and upset the apple cart.
Yeah.
So I'm just holding my breath, and we're chatting for the first half hour, and then he tells me his story. And then I knew not only I was safe, but like we think alike. Like, and it wasn't like, oh, this is
And
gonna
I can
work,
see it
or-
real quick.
It wasn't anything other than, okay, we're on the same page. I'm safe. This is good. And then we had so that was on a first conversation. So earlier you had your 90-day stint. But for me, my first experience with Vohn, within 30 minutes, I'm like, okay, this is going to work. And then we had that 3-hour Saturday conversation, and truly the rest is history.
Yeah.
It's been a phenomenal journey. So do you want to know how he won my heart?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Do you want to remember? And I've told this story a number of times because I love it.
Because Chelsea told me about a text that you sent to her this morning while we were lifting. And
Good
she
for
said, Laura sent me a text that said, Chelsea was saying, Vohn saved my life. And Laura said, something like
Vohn changed my life, yeah.
Changed my life forever.
Yeah.
And Chelsea was like, I didn't know what that meant. I said, I'm going to find out.
I'll tell you. So up until this time, the company is now 15 years old, right? And things change over time. And we had a new product line come out the year before, and I just felt out of sync. And partially what had happened is just the business.
The business is growing and changing.
Well, the method by which we did it and how I created success was with duplication. And the duplication model had been redefined about 6 months before. And so the pathway, let's just say, had to become unclear. And so my old thinking...
And Laura is very system-based too, so which is what makes it
you
very...
need to be,
yeah, which
right?
makes it...
Can't relate.
Which makes it so you can duplicate it for sure, very easy. And so...
I'm good to go rogue and renegade and all the things.
Oh
However, when you're leading...
I need some personal consultation.
Coaching?
I need management. Now I need a coach. She's my person.
I love it. So what's important in our business is people don't duplicate. Processes do. So I had processes that were duplicable, and that was how I created such incredible success, is to bring someone in. They're a mom. This is their side hustle. They want to like quickly become the hero of their own story. It's my job to help them do that. And so there were processes. So those processes had been abandoned for good reasons, but I hadn't really invented the new process yet. So it felt like 31 flavors to me. Like, and that's really tough to duplicate.
It was kind of, even when I came in, I was like, well, you guys have all these really good products, but it doesn't seem like there's a storyline. Like
Right.
it's
there's 45 different methods of everybody doing it their way, which is fine. That's the beauty of the business we're in. Mm-hmm. But it felt a little disruptive, right? And so I would say I felt myself kind of waning in my enthusiasm. And there was a series of events, God intervened and just boom, boom, boom. And there was like boom, boom, boom. So I'd had several of those hits come to me. One of which was just hearing a new leader say what she was doing. And I'm like, freak, she's just doing what I did. Like, get back to what you did. Mm. But I needed to not get back to it. I needed to get forward with it. And this is where Vohn comes in.
Because there's never any going back.
Well, the patterns are still true.
Right.
But there needed to be...
New
because
invigoration.
the company I started with was straight up essential oils with a little bit of supplementation. And now by this 15 years later, we've been redefined. We have different offerings. And although I had a very clear, again, duplicable model, it just didn't live for me. It didn't live for me. So 30 minutes in, I'm meeting Vohn, and he tells me this story. You want to hear it?
Sure.
And if you want to interject, tell it correctly.
Go ahead.
You do it.
No, you tell it, because I'm...
So he says, I'm a functional
He doesn't read minds, just so you know.
I do.
That's why I have a wife. She reads minds.
That's a girl trick. So we're sitting there and he's like, so I practice functional medicine. I'm a chiropractor. Then he goes and gets new training. He up-levels his practice. He's into functional medicine. He's been doing it for 3 years. And he has a patient. And this guy has 37 biomarkers out of range. And he sits down at his desk and he's already been treating this patient, if I remember right, for 3 months. And the guy's needle isn't moving. And he's super frustrated. And he's like, throws his arms up in there. And he's like, what am I doing? I'm chasing biomarkers. This is wrong. I'm not going to practice functional medicine anymore. And he switches and he decides he's going to practice foundational medicine. And he puts the guy on a program. This is where our whole journey is like, this is why I'm like, okay, you're talking my language and I'll tell you why. So he puts him on the program. And if I remember right, Vohn, you said the program was 4 months. And so 120 days in, he runs his blood work again. And now there's only 13 biomarkers out of range.
Wow, you actually remember the exact number.
I do. I remember everything.
That was exact
the story, number. Like... So, first of all, 37 biomarkers is ridiculous.
Yeah, but he had everything. Just so as she said, he had type 2 diabetes. He had thyroid issues. His liver was
a mess.
Smashed. Iron levels, like everything. He had all of the things.
How old?
He's mid-50s.
So here's the punchline. So he's on his program. He runs his blood work, and now there's only 13 biomarkers out of range. And this story right here becomes the theme of everything. So what's left is 100% connected to the fact that the guy is a raging alcoholic. So by going a foundational program, meeting his core needs, taking care of the body, not by chasing biomarkers.
Not by treating anything.
Not
I didn't
by
treat
treating anything, but taking care of the basic needs of the body. Now only 13 are left, and now the problem is obvious. So I had developed for doTERRA with one of the owners who had done product development for companies like Shackley, and now he's a doTERRA owner. And they came to me and they wanted a detox program. So I helped them develop it with my past knowledge, and that was created in 2014. So now fast forward, I'm meeting Vohn November 7th of 2023. I can tell you exactly the day because it was so significant, right?
You need her to write all the forwards for your next book.
I know, right? I'm going to.
So here we are now all these years later, and that program lived on. Like, it's still solid. It was a 30-day program. It was called Cleanse and Restore, and it was 3 10-day phases. And the reason why I built it that way is because you learn the hard way with clients that you don't want them calling you up saying, I have diarrhea from that herbal product you put me on, right? You're like, okay, we're moving a little fast. Let's slow it down, right? And so you learn really, really quick to temper a person's experience in a so-called detox program. So I know from my experience, don't throw everybody into the fire on day one. Let's earn their way in. So the first 10 days of my program was the warm-up act. And then in the second phase, we got to it and we made it really, really difficult for unwanted guests to remain in the digestive tract.
That means diarrhea.
No,
I mean, toxins.
no, because we did it right. It just means they're leaving. Okay, that's how powerful the product was. And then the third 10 days, we had actually switched it up a couple of years in because doTERRA had developed an incredible cellular health product. And so then we went after more systemic cellular health in the third 10 days. So the 3-hour conversation with Vohn a couple of days later is he's telling me all about this 90-day program he developed, and he's telling me what he does in his 10-day in his 30-day phases, and I'm like, those are my 10-day phases. Like, again, we were so cut from the same.
The alignment, there was
crazy.
Immediate alignment. Yeah.
It was immediate alignment. So then I'm like, and then he's like, you need to do your phases longer. Like, you got this, but they need to be longer.
My next question is anyway, keep going.
So in essence, we took the program I already had for doTERRA, his wisdom with the 90-day program he'd already developed elsewhere. They were the same exact philosophy. And he's like, Laura, blow it up into 90 days. So we did. And then he told me what he wanted. He's brand new. He doesn't hardly know the
I didn't know any of the products. So I'm like, okay, I need a solution for this.
He's like, this is what I want. I want this and this and this.
And she's like, oh, pop.
And then I'm like, boom. And so when people are like, how did you create the doTERRA 90-day reset? I'm like, well, actually, it was a super no-brainer, common sense thing. Because one, I got my 10-year-old now, 11-year-old
program.
Cleanse and Restore program. He's got his wisdom. And it was so obvious to me what to do. Although there was one caveat.
Which one?
That was different than anything else. And it was the cellular product. And what's really cool about that, we can just jump over a lot of things and go right here. Fast forward, and now this gal named Casey Means is famous. Okay? I don't know if you know who Casey Means is.
She's the one you see a lot on like Tucker Carlson. She's a medical doctor who's basically come to the right side, and they're like ultra processed foods are killing everybody. She was nominated by Trump to be the Surgeon General. Yeah.
And she's young.
She's young and she's brilliant. So
she wrote a book called Good Energy. So last year in September, I'm listening to her book, and it makes, like, I already knew Vohn was right. I already knew the product was right. It wasn't hard for me to wrap my head around it. But what she did in her book was she blew up this concept for me on such a grand scale to help me understand how wise Vohn's recommendation was to add the cellular product right from the get-go. So do you want to know what the 3 phases are?
Yeah. Because, okay. So we actually, okay, just so you know, I don't know anything about gut health. I have a pretty healthy gut. I don't have this problem.
Good job.
But I have people in my life who do.
It's pretty hard not to today. Like issues. Most people aren't gut fit.
Everybody, nobody's gut fit.
Actually, we just
That's a good way of saying that. I'm going to steal that.
That is a good one.
Take it and run with it.
We recorded a podcast just barely about what does leaky gut mean? How does it work? In fact, I even didn't know that the gut. I thought the gut was the stomach gut, not the intestine. Most people
do, but I'd say most people do. Most people
such a baby
initially think
there's a front door and a back door. Front door, back door. The whole thing is your gut.
Yeah,
that's it. Do you want to know why? So now we're going to go into some iridology. You're going to love this.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Like gut is like digestive tract.
Your whole digestive tract.
So, because the microbiome is the whole thing.
I'm going to teach you iridology.
Okay.
Really quick, right? So you have this beautiful eye. You have your iris, which is the colored part, and you have this black dot in the middle. We call it the pupil. The pupil is a hole, right? So it's literally a hole that's expanding and contracting, and it's determining how much light is hitting your posterior epithelium, which is the black part you see. You're literally looking through your eyeball. So the stroma's up here on this dome, and you got this hole, and you can see through to the posterior epithelium. So in the fibers, right? This is where your eye color is. So here's how you read an eye. Again, iridology. We're going to do this in 1 minute. Okay, so you got the pupil. It's the hole. It's this hole. It's this hole. The whole gut. You're a donut.
Yeah.
You're a donut. So we just stretch you out. You got to hold down the middle. Okay, so we'll just go like this, stretch you out, and you're a donut. Okay?
Which is the exact same way a cell, a baby, grows. It looks like a donut as it's growing from the beginning.
Isn't that fantastic? So when you're looking at the eye, you're looking at the hole. And then the very first ring. So the iris is divided into 7 concentric circles. So the outmost ring of your eye, so you're a blue-eyed person, is your skin. And typical blue-eyed people, the skin will be dark in the eye. Like go home and look at your eye and you're like, I do have a dark line on the outside of my eye. Laura's right.
Okay.
Super common with blue-eyed people. It's called a scurf rim. And it means your skin is underactive. Okay. So the darker the fibers, the less active. The whiter the fiber, the more overactive to the point of being too active. So you're not only looking at the fiber, you're looking at its color because it's telling you anything from acute to normal to subacute to chronic to degenerative. So if I can see black through your fibers where an organ is, I'm seeing to your posterior epithelium, all the fibers have parted and it's degenerative. The life is not in the fibers and it's reflecting the livelihood of the tissue. So with your donut.
I'm so fascinated.
Isn't this cool?
I'm really sucked in.
You're gonna know you have to
incredible.
do it. You know, the first time I ever had the first and only time I ever had this done, we'd always come up in the summers from San Diego up here and we'd drive through. And I remember on the way between St. George and Provo.
Oh, I bet you went to Paul Latham.
It was a lady.
Oh, it was a lady. Was it Helen Rogers?
This was back in
Provo.
No, not Provo. Between somewhere in small town Utah off the highway.
I'm not sure where it is.
I remember it was in a 2-story house because I grew up in California with 8 kids. And so if you had a 2-story house, you were like rich. And so I remember she read I was like, I forget how old I was, but it was like late 80s.
Your mom was pulling over?
Early 90s.
Your mom would take you guys to get your eyes read.
She on that one trip, she pulled off and had my eyes read.
Because he was,
were you the problem child?
trouble.
Oh, I was, yes. Matter of fact, she used to take me in for attitude adjustments. Those were chiropractic adjustments.
Your mom was smart.
And I would be super, but my nervous system would totally be chill and calm for about a week. And then I'd bounce off the walls again. She's like, you need to go back to chiropractic. So that was my first introduction to chiropractic too. My mom was one of those weird kooks that was into all this stuff.
Your mom was brilliant.
Oh, she really was. And
she is what your mother.
Well, I do as a joke. No, I
mean, do you know that he has his mom's fingerprint on this ring that he wears?
Aw.
Like,
who? So cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's right.
But she's
your mom
amazing.
passed away.
She passed away almost 3 years ago. Yeah, but she was the reason that she's like yourself. You know, started having these kids and stuff, and so she had a lot of kids. So it's like she was the one that like took care of. We never went to a doctor. I never remember going to. I lie. I went to a doctor because I have more stitches in my body than all 7 siblings combined. I was that kid. But we went to the doctor for
your environment.
Stitches and broken bones is why you went to the doctor. Anything else, my mom took care of, you know. And so she was really into natural health when it was considered kooky and weird. And now it's all super mainstream and organic food and supplements or, you know. So she was way ahead of her time.
We go down that rabbit hole too. How we got off track. But we're on a lot of tracks right now. So we might have an iridology lesson.
It was going to be. Okay, so going back to iridology.
We're going to get back to the story and the 90-day program and all the things, right? But I was giving you a little iridology lesson because you said you wanted to understand the gut better.
Yeah.
So when you're reading the eye, you have the pupil. And then the first of the concentric rings is actually your stomach. So that's the first thing I can see. The second thing is your intestinal tract. And then you have a very distinct border called the collarette. And so anything inside the collarette is your intestinal tract. And it's actually in your iris where your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous systems meet. And so the shape of it matters. I can see if your colon is prolapsed. I can see if you have strictures. I can see if you have a spastic colon. I can see if you have diverticuli, all the things.
It's fascinating.
I'm taking Eric.
Your freaking eye.
No, I've even myself thought about, I just want to go get certified in iridology because it's so fascinating.
So then the next ring outside of the gut is the transformation zone. It's where you read what's going on in the blood. So if it's all white out there, then I can see a lot of congestion. So my suspect is, I bet you eat a lot of dairy or a lot of like crummy wheat and all the things. And so it's going out, it's like a really mucus producing, inflammation producing food. And I can see that it's putting your body on fire. I can see if your stomach's on fire. I can see all kinds of things. And then you're just going from there and every organ has a spot and your brain is the top 1/6 of your iris, your knee. I can see where your knee is. I know where your uterus is supposed to be. So if it's tilted this way, I know it's tilted towards your spine. If it's tilted this way, I know it's forward and it's prolapsed.
Are you guys freaking out?
It's so cool.
But there's so much of this like medicine and stuff, especially when you get into alternative medicine, Chinese medicine. Like I was blowing away my wife's cousin. We were at rugby. We were at nationals last weekend, and my wife's cousin was there, and his daughter's about ready to have her third child. She's pregnant. I'm like, what are you guys having? He goes, oh, she's hoping to have another girl. She wants to have another girl. I'm like, well, let's just find out. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, pull up the Chinese birthing chart. He's like, what the heck is that? So we pull it up, and we have some other friends that are sitting there too. And it's a big old Polynesian dude, big old Samoan dude. He's like, wait, what? What is this? And so we pull it up, like, well, just find out. It says right here, this thing is like in the Beijing Museum. The thing's like, I don't know how many thousands of years old, but it's an actual tablet that they built this thing off of. And you just have to know the age that you conceived and the month you conceived, and it'll tell you exactly what your child's going to have. So I tell him this, right? So he calls my wife's, he calls his niece or his daughter, and he's like, hey, okay, he's asking her the questions. While he's doing that, the lady sitting next to him is checking all of her kids because she's all adult kids. And she's like, that one was correct. All 5 kids, spot on. Every single person who's ever done it, spot on. It sounds kooky, it sounds crazy, but it's like, here's the thing. This medicine and this stuff has been around for thousands of years.
That's right.
Whereas Western medicine, which is just, I'm just going to say it, it's poison. You're putting not pharmaceutical. When you think pharmaceutical, what you're putting petroleum-based products into your body because that's what they're based off of. So you're putting it's poison-based, which is only like 150 years old, really.
If that.
But because it's so prevalent in our culture, all this other medicine that's been around for thousands of years has been completely discounted. So I'm an acupuncturist as well. So I learned all Chinese medicine. So we're doing.
You're an acupuncturist.
I do acupuncture. Yeah.
Goes really well with chiropractic.
Oh, for sure.
They're beautifully paired.
But all of these things are different ways of the body tells you what's going on in all these different ways, whether it's the eyes, whether it's the hands, the feet, the ears. You know, you have these things called ashi points. So, you know, as you're going through and you're touching, it's like, ooh, that's really tender. Like, oh, that's the spot. And then I tell you exactly where in the body is messed up right now or what's going on.
Your
and
teeth,
like,
there's a tooth chart.
Well, I have teeth.
Fingernails, tongue. Okay. You can read it all. And there's chart. I have
and it's been around
binder,
for thousands of
and
years.
I have so many different kinds of charts. And I'm like, oh, I see something weird on your tongue. Let me get my tongue chart out. Check out your fingernails. Let's get the fingernail chart out.
And that's all part of...
Your body's throwing clues.
Yeah, Chinese medicine is all part about looking at the eyes, looking at the tongue as well. I mean, there's so much to it. And so this is just one element, iridology, which I've never gotten into personally, but now I'm reinvigorated. I think I want to go get certified.
Next time we come back to the podcast, he's going to be certified.
I'm going to be certified in iridology.
He's like, that's spastic. Okay.
Yeah. So let's jump to the 90-day now.
Okay, so 90-day program. And really Vohn, so we've created it. He tells me what he wants. I got my program, all things. I put the products together, wireframe it, deliver it, and it's out there. So now it's the spring of 2024. I've completed the entire thing, all the parts, released it, and now we're on a talking tour somewhere, and Vohn's teaching about it. And he uses a garden analogy, and oh boy. So if you thought I remembered his 13 biomarker patient, I remembered the garden analogy.
She's got a good memory over here. I just give her that.
And I've made it famous. Like it is the way, the truth, and the light. So here's the story. Now here's the best part is God is so good. He just gives us all the right experiences. So I'm kind of busy in 2024. Got a lot going on. Mind you, I broke my foot August 31st of 2023.
She's really good with dates too. Okay.
And so I'm still kind of coming out of that. And the gardening thing wasn't a top priority. So now fast forward, it's last October. And my garden looks hellacious. Like if you want to be the queen of weeds, it was bad. It was so bad.
Are you talking about your body or are you talking
about my literal backyard garden?
Yeah.
Okay. I just had to make sure because I didn't know if we were analoging or not. But okay.
We are and we aren't.
Okay.
So fast forward now. So we've had doTERRA Convention 2024. We have a new foundational wellness product collection. We're on tour. Both of us are in Minnesota. I don't remember where we were, what event we were at, but it's possibly the Minnesota event
one.
in November.
Yeah.
And I don't know when he throws down the garden analogy. Actually, I think it was on a webinar we were on.
Was it?
It was on a webinar. It was. And so
I'll take your memory for it.
Because I get the garden analogy in my first 5 minutes.
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
going.
So God is so good that it was already woven. I've already woven it into the whole story, right? It's already part of the analogy. But now I got to have it for real. So my friend Eve is a master gardener, and I'm teaching this class and I'm talking about weeds and gardening and all the things. And she says, you know that your fall garden will really determine your spring garden. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. So me and my assistant Sherry go out to the backyard the last warm day in October of 2024. And we put in 3.5 hours each, and we weeded our guts out. Now, this is all leading somewhere.
Now, let me just say, as an herbologist, you probably have like a fetching awesome garden.
If I work it, that year I didn't, but yeah.
But you don't have just like a couple raised gardens.
She's not just growing tomatoes.
I'm not really the chick in the garden.
This is just a salsa garden.
I'm not the cute lady that's all natural and hippie. I mean, I have a hippie side to me, but you're not going to find me in the garden harvesting dill and selling it to a client. That's not me.
Okay.
Somebody else can do that.
Okay.
I'm too practical for that.
But your garden is
But I like to garden.
But it's robust.
Yeah, but I'm not the master gardener. That's my friend Eve. Okay. So I'm out there and
you're getting the crap out of it.
Well, Vohn knows me. I'm going to like wrangle those weights. Like, come on, you're coming out. Now it's Utah and the soil's hard and it hasn't rained. And so they're not coming out. And I'm channeling my inner parents. Don't leave the root balm. I'm like, shoot, these things are pulling up and I'm leaving root balms. It's not working. So I go to the shed, I get a claw and I start loosening up the soil. And man, those weeds came out. And I kid you not, I was a machine. What we pulled out in 3.5 hours would blow your mind. It was nuts. And Sherry told me afterwards, I'm so sore. I haven't worked that hard in a long time. But here's the whole analogy and here's the whole 90-day thing. And had it not been for him using the garden analogy and me having this experience and already having the 90-day program all set.
All around this,
it's all coming together. Again, God is good. So what happens in the program is what I tell you. I said, I don't throw my clients on a program, just smack them onto the whole 9 yards because I got to ease them in. So the first month, whether it was the 10 days in the 30-day program, and now it's this 30-day, the first 30 days is prepare. It is the prepare phase. And what you're doing is you're energizing the cells and the organs to performance. You need to get them. So when I'm out there tilling the soil wasn't performing. It wasn't giving up the weeds until I tilled it. And so month 1 is till your soil. So we've got this cellular product in there because Vohn said so. And I knew exactly and we had just reformulated the product. Like it couldn't have been better. Yeah, it was. And then here's Casey Means talking about good energy and explaining cellular energy. And it all just comes together as to how brilliant, because basically the client is the cell. It's not you. It's your cells. They're our clients. And if they're not functioning, did you know that your cells cannot take in nutrition? They can be so unhealthy that nutrition can't get into them. The membrane can be so broken that you think you're putting good stuff in, it's going when it hits the membrane. And then did you know your cell can be so broken that toxins don't come out? So the picture of Google unhealthy cell and get a little image and you're like, that's a sorry looking cell, right? And so you got arrows. A good cell, the stuff will go in, the stuff will come out. A bad cell, the stuff will ring, and it won't come out. So the ultimate client is the cell. So to create a program where we don't address cellular energy in the first 30 days is actually irresponsible. So we got to do the gut first, right? So the very first thing is the gut, because everything, just like the iris, you got to pour it down the hole in the donut, and then it's going to get distributed through the body all the way out to the skin. So if the gut can't process that, well, it was nice, expensive, nothing. Right?
Expensive pee.
So my analogy is if I have Eve come over to my house and she gives me some heirloom seeds from her yard, and I throw them in that garden, the one that I kept a picture of,
not going.
She would say to me, that was the dumbest thing you ever did. And she would be right. But what do people do? They don't till the soil. They don't pull the weeds, which is what we do in phase 2. That's when we go into the detoxing. So 30 days now that you've earned the right to be the person whose soil is going to give up the weeds.
Which also, when you do that, when you go through the right process of doing that in the first 30 days, when you go into the second 30 days, the detox, Most people, when you talk to them about detox, one of the first things they'll say is, oh my gosh, like it's going to make me, I'll get the flu, or I feel like crummy when I detox. And what it is a Herxheimer reaction.
Right.
And so what it does, it also helps to prevent you having those kind of reactions because your body's actually ready for detox now.
It's so beautiful. And again, the garden analogy makes it so easy to comprehend. When I tried to wrangle the weeds with just using my muscle, I got literally nowhere. But the minute I loosened the soil or energized it, so when you energize your body, you energize those organs, you energize those cells so that they're performing, they're going to give up the weeds. And you're going to have a much better experience in phase 2, which we call cleanse. So this is not a detox program. It is a 90-day reset where you are resetting your bioterrain. So month 1, till, prepare, energize organs and cells. Month 2, stimulate pathways of detoxification and elimination and get those buggers out. That's month 2.
So can I tell you why I was, this is not a doTERRA podcast, but there is history here.
But but then I don't want to skip month 3. Are we going to get
We are.
We'll do month 3.
Okay.
We'll do month 3 in a second. So the product that you guys sell in Japan, which is their top selling product, do you know what that actually does to the cell?
Well, it gives it minerals. It gives it electricity.
It does give it minerals, but it like physiologically, it increases the electrical charge of that cell membrane.
That's right.
And it's a cell membrane that decides whether things are coming in or out. And so not only does it put nutrients in, it increases the electrical charge of the cell membrane, and it also chelates off. That's a bad word. Chelate's a bad word.
If you can't conduct electricity and you don't have proper essential fatty acids, omega-3s, your cell membrane is going to be out of business, and it won't matter what else you do. And that's as stupid as throwing the seeds on the garden. And so the first thing we have to do is become operational. So what Sherry and I did is I have a before and after picture, and I show the garden, and it's all clean. The boxes are ready. So now we're on phase 3, and it's called Renew. So the whole thing, I named it the Renew 90-Day Reset. And then doTERRA, I give it to doTERRA. We call it the 90-Day Reset. And the whole point is month 1, prepare, till your soil. Energize your organs and cells to performance. Month 2, cleanse. And what are you doing? You're stimulating your eliminative organs and detoxification pathways, and you're cleaning house. And then month 3 is renew. And so when Vohn and I talk, for example, so now it's time to water and fertilize. So now that the garden beds are ready, now we can start. Now is the time to put the stuff in them, right? Let's get them to where they can grow. So you're not like done at the end of month 3. You're reset. And now you can be that gardener who can grow your wellness. Now you can harvest your health. Now you can put seeds in. So we have an incredible collagen product. And Vohn said, let's not throw it in month 1.
Because then we'll just get rid of it.
Because we're wasting seeds. Let's throw it in month 3 when we've changed the terrain. And now the body can really do so much more with the collagen because it's a different terrain than it was at the beginning. And here's the best part of all, and this is going to come full circle. The Mr. 37 biomarkers. Remember him? Vohn helped him. Do you remember why I fell in love with Vohn and he got me out of jail? This is how he changed my life to make Chelsea right. Is because what happens is I have people take an assessment at the beginning of every 30 days. And I want you to like look under your head and see what's going on, right? But here's the magic. Do you remember what happened to his guy? He didn't put him on any solutions other than changed his terrain. And all but 13 biomarkers went in. So I have people get their laundry list of all their health goals. 60 days in, at least 60% of those things are checked because we changed the terrain. And then what becomes clear is the 13 biomarkers that meant he was a raging alcoholic. What becomes clear somewhere in around month 3 is what's left and what really needs to be addressed. So the girl with the crummy periods and the head tension that comes with it and the bowels that never work right, she's telling us after month 2, you've changed my life. And we haven't even really got to her so-called hormones yet. So if I could leave here with any impression to make on people, is don't do your health from the top down. Do your health from the bottom up. And if you don't build a foundation, like, so what if your house is on fire, right? But people are always trying to put out the fire. They're reactive. They're firefighting. This is about bricklaying. This is about laying foundations. This is about taking care of the body's needs, and then the body will take care of its own needs.
You know what I think is interesting, just to kind of zoom out a little bit on this theory. Not so much a theory, but this fact,
Philosophy.
like how this,
Philosophy, yeah,
how this
philosophy.
happens.
It's the laws of the body, right?
It feels like that also works for like if you're deciding that you need to make a change in your life and you don't like the way you feel, you don't like the way you're thinking, you don't like anything. Like, I feel like you've got a lot of women. We have a lot of women.
Are you talking about a lot of weeds in your life?
Well,
It sounds like a life full of weeds, right?
It's interesting just to talk to women who are on this stage. This, is it perimenopause? Am I in menopause? Where am I
Yes.
at? But I do not feel like myself. I feel like crap. My energy is low. My focus is low. I can't think. I don't like to do what I like to do. I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. And then someone says to you, oh, you're just getting older. And you're
What a
like,
lousy excuse. What a
This is
lousy
it?
excuse.
You're
Yeah,
like,
like
this
I'm
is
supposed
it?
to settle for this?
And usually it's a a male doctor telling you.
Same guy that recommended the cow's milk.
or you're having this conversation. They're like, oh, it's just all downhill from here. Get used to it.
Do you know that aging is no longer considered natural? It's actually now called a disease because we don't need to succumb to it. Our life expectancy is 120 years.
The reason why we're even here is because I literally thought that aging just ended in dementia. That's what I've seen. That's what I see. And this concept of you can be healthy at any age was so foreign to me. And, to zoom out even just a little bit more, not just talking about a detox, if you're not sleeping, forget about it, right? And if you're not drinking, and if you're not doing the things that your body needs, moving, eating actual food, you can't change where you're at. And so it's very much like this whole terrain thing, even expanded out. I mean, I guess if you really think about I love that you said from the bottom up
yeah.
or from the inside
Instead of the
out.
top down.
We
Yeah.
all look at ourselves.
And I'm thinking of a graphic when I say that I usually teach from, where it's a pyramid of sorts showing nutrition and digestion. And digestion for me includes front to back door, so also elimination.
Okay.
And it's a stacked deck where typically what's on level 5 is what we call informed self-care. And that'd be like, let's talk about your hormones or whatever. But everybody wants to start up here. They just see the fire and they just want to put it out. But the problem is, who wants to live in a charred building? Like, that's
Right.
going to need, no matter what, you're going to have to remodel. You just can't just go after fires and then wonder why you don't feel well. That's not where well-being comes from. It's something you grow. It's something you nurture. Like your garden.
It's a garden. It's a
your
garden.
garden is not going to grow
Yeah.
without the principles of what makes a plant grow, and neither will your body. It's a law.
It's really fascinating. I mean, first of all, I know we're kind of coming to the end, and I think that there's so many more questions.
I don't know. I'll be honest. That was kind of a mic drop statement right there. Almost kind of like it's true. That's, I don't know what else. One more you say.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much hope. There's so much hope. I've seen people turn their lives around, their bodies around. Vohn, we could spend hours talking about the people whose lives we've seen change, because really what they needed was some common sense.
And it's two things. Like think of your body like a garden, and think of what are the two things that are going to have the biggest impact on my garden growing or not growing. One is nutrition, right? The right nutrition into the soils, right? You're a good fertilizer. Or the weeds, which can choke out the plants. And then look at that at the human body, toxins and nutritional deficiencies. And it's really that simple. It is literally that simple.
In that same garden, there were rogue plants. There were rogue strawberry plants that grew anyways, and there were rogue tomato plants that grew anyways. When I got into the tomato bed to weed it, I was so fascinated to see, and it was kind of hidden, like you can't see it in the photo, but half the bed was this grass-like weed, and it was dense. And the plants had managed to grow themselves outside of the bed. They're boxes, right? And so I had cherry tomatoes all over the walkway, and I tell my grandkids, don't walk on those. I'm like trying to save them. But when I really got in there, I saw how much they had been shoved out of their territory. So why do organs and body parts do weird things? Because they've been shoved out. They've been displaced. And so I made space for tomatoes to grow in their space by getting rid of the parasite, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
The
really
garden
that
was
simple.
full of parasites.
And it's really that simple. And I've seen it just with patient after patient. You've seen it. I mean, a number of women on your team that I've had great conversations with have had huge success in actually growing their businesses within doTERRA because of taking that simple truth. And it's not just taking that simple truth, but it's taking that simple truth, implementing it, and actually seeing all the results from it. Because at the end of the day, you can't trick results. Either people get better or they don't.
Your garden either grows or it doesn't. It's obvious if you got it figured out, right? It's obvious. So the program has proven, and I've got it all laid out. It's super easy. This is what you do. This is what you take. This is when you take it. Here's how you take it. I got a tracker for them and everything. But really, to your point, there might be something. This is somewhere I like to be compassionate. So if you're uncomfortable right now, and you're like, but I got a fire, and I want to put it out because it's ruining my life. You know, it's my mood.
And I'm miserable.
It's my sleep. It's my mood. It's my hormones. It's the fact that I can't get pregnant. Whatever the thing is. After people take the assessment, I have them choose their top 1 or 2 things that's robbing them of their energy, that's distracting them right now. Well, let's get some early wins. So on our way to resetting your terrain, what are a couple things we could target for you? And so it's always the foundational program with some targeted solutions on top of it. In other words, you don't go for the fire. Because if you don't have that foundation, the targeted solutions, they're not going to take hold. And they're not going to bring the results that you desire. And so we don't start there. There is an order of operations with the body. And that's the bottom-up approach.
Wow.
No pun intended.
Funny.
Wow. And so what would you say? I mean, here we've got people listening from all over in all these different circumstances, and there's not one person who's listening that wouldn't benefit from this. In fact, Vohn says this to me all the time. Everybody needs to do this one time a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to go and get your garden ready at least once a year, right? I mean, and some people can do it twice. Just like you're saying, the fall garden,
and
the
even
spring garden.
month 2, which is still that cleanse and restore program, only you've earned the right to do it the whole time. You know, there's things you can do daily. There's daily detox where you can keep up and keep managed. I mean, we have an onslaught of toxins happening every day. It's not like you got hit once a year. You can't control that. So there's daily detoxification and daily management of that terrain. There's periodic, whether it's doing a 30-day or it really depends on, again, it's like Vohn. What are the markers telling us? And we're not going to chase the markers. The markers are just like your tongue. They're just like your ears. They're just like your fingernails. They're going to tell us. And it doesn't have to be blood markers. It's just like, how do you feel? So if you're still really tired, if you still are hormonally imbalanced or whatever, then those are all clues that the terrain is not yet at a level of performance. And so like a lot of people love month 1 so much. They do that for a while because they're so unfit when they start that they're kind of scared to do a detox. And it's not that scary of a detox at all. No. It's fantastic. But it's like, it's okay. Do month 1 for 30, 60, 90 days. If you want to just like work your soil first, get the energy going, and then let's get you into performing.
Interesting.
It's all good.
Interesting. Well, I don't even know how to sum it up. You have to.
I mean, I think she kind of did. I think she kind of summed it up. Like, it's just know that there's hope. I had a phone call yesterday with actually, I was so impressed with this young lady. I just remember her as like a little high school girl. And my daughter was on this club team when we were living in Kansas, and she was 8th grade when she was on this team. And this girl, I think it was a senior with this club. And I was talking to her. She just got married. She's like 24 now. I was talking with her and her mom on the phone. And she went to the endocrinologist, all these things, has Hashimoto's, some other things. And she just, for whatever, she's like, no, she's like, this is not, I feel like I want to try something natural first. Like, I just feel like, and I was like, wow, because most people don't. They don't even know to go that route. And so we spent
usually it's the last resort, right?
It is. And so we spent time on the phone. I haven't seen this young lady in 6 years, 5 years, 5, 6 years. And so it was so impressive. Like, I think the generation, this next generation is kind of growing, waking up. And I say it a lot about COVID, regardless of where people sit with COVID. I think at this point we can all agree Dr. Watts was right if you were listening to me during that time. It was all complete, utter bullshit. But what it did, regardless of where you were at the time on it, the positive that came out of it is it woke people up into taking their health into their own hands and not just running to a doctor and having a doctor tell them what to do. And now it's like taking personal responsibility and going, okay, this is my body. This is my health. And finding out which path is it. And I was so impressed with her because I'm like, here's a 24-year-old girl. Not that I knew that young woman. Not that I knew that she was, I don't know that she was even into natural health, but just to be impressioned that way, I'm like, for me, it was one of those moments like, I think the tide's changing. Yes. And I think this younger generation they're not looking. I kept saying, oh, kooky, because that's how people would talk about it. Oh, it's kooky. That's weird. Whereas now this younger generation, they're not talking about it that way. That natural medicine, holistic medicine is weird and kooky. They're looking at it going, well, that makes sense. Like, well, of course, how can my body do any of the things it needs to do if it doesn't have the proper fuel?
I don't recall ever there being like a food pyramid of synthetic chemicals as being the way that you would thrive. And yet the modern approach is wielding manufactured synthetic solutions that do nothing but quote unquote mitigate symptoms. They don't have the capacity, the chemical, literal capacity to bring the body to a state of wellness.
No, and I think people are realizing
petroleum based, right?
Well, I think the great thing about COVID was I think people now have this healthy distrust of government agencies and saying, oh, they've been leading us away. No, they haven't. They've been telling us for 30 plus years now that fat is bad. And we're knowing, oh, now the research coming, no, fat's actually good. Sugar makes you fat, not fat. Matter of fact, these high carb diets are what's a big cause of dementia, type 3 diabetes. It's the lack of fat. The eggs are bad. And now we're like, no, the egg yolk is probably the most nutritious thing you can put in your body.
If you actually pull back the hood, this study that all that was done on was powdered eggs. Like, it's bogus, right?
Garbage.
Like, pull back the hood. Find out how we got here.
But we're even looking at now.
What's the base of the word pharma?
I was watching, I was watching a congressional hearing, and you had one of the government or pharmaceutical, I think it was a government, and he was talking about how there were 611 studies showing the efficacy of vaccines and all these things. And then there was a trial attorney next to him who's going, well, let's go through those studies. And went through all of them. And when he broke them down, there wasn't a single study that actually met the
parameters of a legit
parameters
study
of what they were saying. And the guy sitting next to him then goes, well, we haven't even had time to go through all those studies. I highly doubt you did. And I'm like, wait a minute. You just sat there in a congressional hearing and said that we have 611 studies that prove. And then once this guy just shot down everything you just said, you say, well, we haven't even had enough time to go through those studies. So how I doubt you have. Like it's just your brain's exploding. And I think, but the good thing is, I think there's this healthy distrust of like everything they've told it, the food pyramid, complete and utter garbage. Fat at the top, the tiny bit, and carbs on the bottom. It should be turned the exact opposite. It should be completely upside down. So it's like everything we've been taught by
industry driven.
Yes.
Okay, everything's industry driven. We've got a question.
Yeah.
We've got to get curious. Curious is my favorite emotion. Get curious, pull back the hood, look at science, study history, find out how modern medicine evolved. I won't go down that rabbit hole with you, but when you find out, you're like, oh, wow, why would I let this lead my life? Don't abdicate your power. Don't abdicate your intuition. Don't abdicate your mother's instinct and knowing. Well, had I not questioned, where would my son be today?
Right, for sure.
Where would he be? His life would have been radically different.
Think about it as Gen Xers, you look at your grandparents, and our grandparents were super, like mine were, and everybody I know, like I didn't, and they were all pretty healthy, very healthy. And it's like, what was their lifestyle? Well, one, they had virtually no vaccinations. None of them were on medication, and they all grow up eating the food out of the garden. Because even as a young kid myself, like in the early 80s, like we had a garden. It was just a normal thing. Everybody had a garden, eating real food. And so it comes down to that. It's like, just go back to the basics. Eat real food, give your body what it needs, and keep the stuff it doesn't need away. And you'd be amazed that those two things in itself, that's health.
Maybe I could give you a closer here. And it's an opener for the next conversation.
Okay.
I'm going to take you to medical school, my kind of medical school, in 30 seconds. It's a school of common sense. There's only two things that ever go wrong with anything. I don't care if it's spiritual, mental, emotionally, or physical, which is what we're highlighting here. The only two things that ever go wrong is you've got too much of the wrong thing and not enough of the right thing. And if you look at every single problem through that lens, now you're going to get somewhere.
And if you're hearing this and this is like triggering you, like, oh my gosh, Dr. Watts is da 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 da. Well, here's the thing. Before you like cast judgment, why don't you just go research? The research is there.
Get curious.
The information is there. So instead of being offended that I'm talking about vaccines or I'm talking about medications or those kind of things, the research is there. I'm not telling you to believe me. Just don't let me trigger you. Go out and actually read it. And if you do, you'll be amazed at how empowered you'll feel and how empowering it is for you. Like I said, I wrote my book for the first responder of the family, which is the mom. And you'll be amazed at how much more empowered you feel in taking care of the health of your family if you just go read it. Go read. Don't listen to me. I'm just trying to poke the bear and probe things so that it will draw curiosity out of you so you will go and research those things. I'm not just throwing out flippant statements that can't be backed up. Everything I say 100% can be backed up. Whether you like it or you don't like what I'm saying, it can 100% be backed up. And but it's empowering. It's empowering when you take your health in your own hands.
It is.
Well, and I think if you feel like crap, you're not supposed to. We're supposed to feel good.
Don't settle.
Throughout the length of our life, whatever that is, you're supposed to be able to feel good. You're supposed to be energetic. You're supposed to be able to focus. You're supposed to thrive no matter how old you are, no matter what your circumstances are. You're supposed to thrive. And if you're not, that is what we're saying. We're saying don't settle, get curious. And it might be like it is for me. This might be the welcome mat to the rest of your life, which I hope it is. So thank you, Laura, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Watts, for bringing her along.
Fun. And I bring some fun people along. They got some great stories, and like I said, hopefully, if nothing else, you learned something and it blessed your life in some way.
And you got to come back and read our eyes.
I know we should do that.
All right, you guys. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on The Shift.